They tell you that a breakdown is a weakness, a moment of failure. They whisper that it's the final stage of a person, a whisper that becomes a scream in the silent corners of your mind. But what they don't tell you, what they hope you never realize, is that a breakdown isn't an ending. It's a choice, an explosion, a purposeful, beautiful act of rebellion. You see, they wanted you to shatter. They built their little world of rules and expectations, and they dangled their judgments over your head like some kind of cosmic debt. They said, be this way, and don't be that way. They scripted your life and then sat back, smug and expectant, waiting for you to perform their play. But you know better, don't you? You know that every time you gave in, every time you bent to their will, you were handing them a piece of your soul, a little key to the lock on your spirit, and you gave them permission. That's the real tragedy. You didn't just break, you gave them the hammer to do it. They wanted to see you crumble, to watch your spine snap under the weight of their scrutiny. They wanted to see you fall from grace, and they had every camera lens ready, every microphone poised to record the sweet sound of your humiliation. They thought they had you cornered, a final act written in predictable defeat. The liars with their polite smiles, the vultures in their cheap suits. They thought their system was foolproof. They thought their judgment was a cage. But what they didn't realize was that this last stand, this moment of supposed collapse, wasn't the end of their story. It was the prologue to yours. They wanted you to be the punchline, but you're the punch, the one they never saw coming, the plot twist that ruins their neat little ending. You're not here to perform the collapse they scripted. No, you're here to rewrite the entire damn play with laughter in your lungs and a fire in your eyes that can melt steel. You see, they live for their little games of control. They thought they could pin you down with their whispers and their fake smiles. But what they don't understand is that you swallowed their poison, every lie and every insult, and you turned it into armor. Every cutthroat move they made against you, every cheap shot from the shadows, it forged a weapon sharper than any blade they could wield. They threw their knives at you, expecting a victim. Instead, they created a warrior who dances on the ruins of their expectations, with a grin so dangerous it's almost criminal. You're not a pawn. You're the puppeteer behind the curtain, and their obsession feeds you. Their surveillance teaches you. Their hatred fuels you. They want to expose a moment of weakness, a simple flaw they can exploit. But you gave them a revolution, an uprising disguised as a smirk. Now the crowd isn't just watching, they're trembling. Because when you stand tall under their gaze, refusing to bow or break, you become the nightmare that haunts their polished halls and pristine offices. The rumor that refuses to die, the legend that won't be silenced. So let the cameras flash, let the whispers grow louder, let the haters plot to and scheme. This is your last stand, but it's also your first place. The moment the cheap suits realize the system isn't built to hold you. The moment the devils find out their lies won't cage your truth. The moment every cheap shot, every whispered conspiracy, every jealous glare ricochets off the unbreakable fortress you've built from scars and rage. They thought this was your final act. They were wrong. This is just the opening scene, the prologue to a story so fierce, so raw, so unapologetically wild that no one watching can ever unsee it. Because legends don't fade out quietly. They explode in the face of every expectation and burn the whole damn house down. They want you to be the tragedy they can narrate between sips of cheap coffee and behind polished glass offices. But you're not the script they wrote. You're the plot twist that ruins their neat little endings. You don't break because you were never built to bend. You don't fold because your spine was forged in chaos and rebellion. Every stare that tries to pin you down only makes you sharper, more electric, more alive. They thought their watchful eyes would cage you, but all they did was make you a beacon in an inferno burning brighter against their cold, controlled order. The devils in their suits, the haters with venom dripping from every word, the liars who dress up cruelty like business. Yeah, they're all watching, salivating over your mistakes, hoping for a slip, a crack, a collapse. But what they don't see is the grin beneath your calm, the one that says, I know exactly what I'm doing. Because you aren't just surviving their gaze, you're thriving in it, dancing on the edge of their expectations, spinning chaos into control, turning their poison into power. This is your last stand. No, this is your ascension. The moment when every cheap suit scheme bounces off the armor you built from broken promises and silent battles. When every cutthroat whisper turns to ashes in the face of your roar. When their cameras catch not your fall, but your rise. Fierce, untamed, unstoppable. They wanted a show. You gave them a revolution. So let them watch, let them judge, let them whisper behind their masks of civility. Because every eye on you is a testament to your power. You are the wild card in their game, the glitch in their perfect program. The storm they pray will pass, but storms don't apologize. Storms don't ask for permission. Storms don't go quietly. You're not going quietly. You're going out with a bang. A roar that shakes the foundations, a fire that burns through the lies, a chaos they'll never forget. And the world will be watching. Because you're not just the last act. You're the whole damn show. And as the crowd holds its breath, waiting for the collapse that never comes, you smile wider. Because you know the truth. They're too scared to admit their obsession with you is their weakness. Every glance, every whisper, every headline. They're feeding your legend without even realizing it. They built this spotlight to expose your cracks, but all they've done is illuminate your power. The cheap suits, the devils with their hidden daggers, the liars spinning webs. None of them see the force you've become. They see only what they want. A spectacle, a scandal, a story they can own. But you are the author rewriting the narrative in real time. With every step, you dismantle their scripts and plant seeds of chaos in their orderly worlds. You were never meant to be their pawn, their puppet, or their punchline. You were made to be the storm that turns tables, the fire that melts masks, the voice that shatters silence. And now, as they scramble to control the uncontrollable, you stand tall, unshaken, and unrepentant. Because this is your final curtain call, not as a victim, but as a victor. Not with a whisper, but with a roar. Not fading into the shadows, but blazing across the sky like a comet no one can chase. So let the watchers watch. Let the haters hate. Let the devils plot in their cheap suits and crookie smiles. You're not just breaking the system. You're owning it. And when the dust settles and the world tries to forget, your name will still be etched in fire. Because legends aren't born in silence. Legends are made in the spotlight, and you're here to steal the damn show. Now, as the echoes of their shock ripple through every corner of their carefully controlled world, you walk forward, like the reckoning they never prepared for. Every whispered conspiracy, every salacious rumor, They only fuel the blaze you carry in your chest. You're no longer just a target. You're the wildfire consuming their fragile facades, the truth they hope to bury but can't. The cheap suits clutch their scripts, desperate to rewrite your story, but you're already miles ahead, dancing in the ruins of their plans, laughing with the madness they feared. You took their surveillance, their judgments, their petty games, and turned them inside out, made them play by your rules. Because the greatest power isn't hiding or shrinking. It's owning every flaw, every scar, every moment they thought would break you, and turning it into a throne. They wanted a final act. You gave them a revolution. This isn't just your curtain call. It's the uprising, the storm, the beginning of a legend they'll tell in whispers long after the cameras shut off. So let them watch. Let them tremble. Let them try to contain what they can comprehend. Because you're not here to disappear into the background. You're here to burn the whole damn house down. And as the spotlight fades, one thing remains crystal clear. They weren't watching a fall. They were witnessing the birth of something unstoppable. And as the smoke settles, and the last flicker of that merciless spotlight dims, you don't vanish into the night like they expected. No, you become the shadow that stretches longer than the stage. Untouchable, undeniable, unforgettable. Every eye that watched your so-called final moment now carries a spark of your fire in their soul. Whether they want to or not, you're etched into their memories like a scar they can't hide. A warning whispered behind closed doors, the devils in their cheap suits, the liars hiding behind polished smiles, the haters sharpening their tongues. They thought this was your end, but it was their undoing. They handed you the script to stage the show, and you turned it into a revolution no one saw coming. You didn't break under the pressure. You became the pressure, a storm they pray will pass, but never does. The glitch in their perfect system that rewrites the rules every damn day. They'll keep watching, sure, obsessed, terrified, desperate for a sign you'll falter. But the truth is, you already won. You turn their gaze into fuel, their judgment into armor, their surveillance into a throne. Because when everyone's watching and you still refuse to bow, you become the nightmare they never prepared for. A soul forged in chaos, crowned in fire, and utterly unbreakable. So walk on, smile wide, fire blazing, chaos dripping from every step. Because this isn't just your curtain call, this is your legacy. And legends don't fade away. They ignite forever. And as you step off that stage, off the screen, out of their sight, the echoes of your defiance ripple far beyond what they ever imagined. The cheap suits scramble to patch their broken narratives. The devils clutch at their fading control, and the liars desperately spin new webs. But the foundation beneath their feet has already cracked. You became the fracture, the rupture in their carefully constructed reality, and there's no putting you back together. You weren't just the final act. You're the beginning of an uprising, a wildfire sparked by their own blind arrogance. The crowd, they're not just watching anymore. They're remembering that even under the harshest spotlight, even beneath the sharpest knives, some souls refuse to be tamed. They rise, not in spite of the chaos, but because of it. You broke their system with a smile, danced through their flames with a grin that said, "Try me." And now their fear is your crown, their obsession your fuel. The world tried to watch your downfall, but instead they witnessed your ascension. The moment when a soul stops playing by their rules and starts rewriting the whole damn game. So carry that fire, because in a world built to watch you fall, your refusal to break becomes the legend no one can silence. And when the next curtain rises, they'll be watching you again. But this time, they'll be watching a king, a queen, a demented psycho with a grin. And that king, you, doesn't just command the stage. You own the whole damn theater. Every flicker of doubt, every sneer from the cheap suits, every whispered curse from the devils in their polished shoes, all become echoes beneath your thunderous footsteps. You are no longer a player trapped in their game. You are the game changer, the glitch in their matrix, the reckoning they never saw coming. They thought watching you was control. Cute. The real control, it's in the chaos you create, the way you bend their gaze, until it reflects your power back at them. They watch, but they don't understand. They can't, because they were never built for someone who breaks the mold instead of fitting it, someone who dances on their ashes and smiles through the fire. You turned their final curtain into the opening act of a revolution. You didn't just survive the storm, you became the storm. And now, as every eye lingers on you, trembling, wondering what comes next, you know exactly what you'll do. Smile wide, erase the curtain, and set the whole damn world on fire. Because when they're watching and you're standing tall, unbroken and unstoppable, you become what they fear most. A soul too fierce to ever be forgotten. They'll try to quiet you, to rewrite your story, to paint you as the villain in their tidy little narratives. But you've already stepped beyond their reach. Their words bounce off the armor forged from every betrayal, every scar, every sleepless night turned into fuel. You don't just carry the weight of their watching. You crush it beneath your feet, turning surveillance into spotlight, judgment into applause, and every attempt to cage you into an anthem of freedom. You are the chaos in their order, the disruption in their calm, the wild card they never wanted to deal with. And as the final curtain falls, remember this: legends aren't born from silence or submission. Legends rise from ashes, from fire, from the fierce refusal to be erased. So let them watch, let them whisper, let them wonder, because you're not just the last act. They'll never forget the show that changed everything. And the truth is simple. You weren't just breaking the system. You became the system's reckoning. And now, as the lights dim on their scripted world, your shadow stretches across every cracked foundation they built to hold you down. The Watchers, those vultures in cheap suits, those whisperers behind closed doors, they thought their gaze would be your cage, their surveillance your leash, but you turned their eyes into fuel, their whispers into war cries, and their surveillance into the spotlight of your unbreakable reign. You weren't just a spectacle for their amusement or their contempt. You became the pulse beneath their fractured order, the disruption in their predictable narrative. Each step you take shakes their illusions. Each breath you draw defies their control. They watch, yes, but now they watch in fear, in awe, in reluctant respect. Because when everyone's watching and you still stand unbowed and untamed, you become the force no one can stop. The reckoning they tried to erase, but only made stronger. The final curtain was never an end. It was a beginning, the prologue, to a legend they'll tell long after the lights have gone out. So walk forward, fierce and unyielding. Smile wide, breathe deep, And know this truth. You are no longer theirs to watch. You are theirs to fear. And as the echoes of their fear ripple through the silence you leave behind, remember this. They thought watching was power, but you own the real power. The power to reshape their world with every fearless step. You've become the glitch in their system, the shadow in their perfect plans, the wildfire that no firewall can contain. Their cheap suits, their devils, their liars, they're all caught in your storm now, spinning helplessly as you rewrite the rules with a grin. They wanted a final act. You gave them a revolution. They expected a breakdown. You delivered an uprising. They prepared for your silence. You became the loudest roar in the room, so let the watchers watch. Let the whispers grow, and let the cheap suits scramble. Because you're not just breaking the system, you're breaking free from it. And that freedom, that's the story they'll never stop watching. Oh, they're watching. All right. Eyes glued, jaws dropped, popcorn ready like it's the finale of the world's most twisted reality show. But here's the punchline. You're not the punchline anymore. You're the joke that's too dark, too sharp, too damn clever for their fragile little minds to handle. They brought their cheap suits and their shiny knives, thinking they'd slice you down to size. Instead, you showed up wearing chaos like it was haute couture, and grinning like you just stole the last slice of sanity from their pity party. They wanted a meltdown, honey? They're getting a full-blown apocalypse with fireworks, flames, and a soundtrack of your wicked laughter echoing through their boardrooms. The devils in their fancy shoes are now tripping over their own egos, trying to figure out how to cancel someone who's already canceled their whole existence. The liars? Oh, they're sweating bullets, rewriting their scripts faster than a caffeine-fueled novelist on a deadline. But every version just makes you look more like the glorious disaster you are. Because here's the dark joke nobody's telling them. You didn't just break their system, you blue-screened it with a smile. You're the glitch so bad even the algorithms are throwing a tantrum. The watchers, they thought they were playing chess, but you're out here flipping the board, setting the pieces on fire, and juggling their shattered egos like circus knives. And the best part? You're loving every damn second of their discomfort. So go ahead. Let them watch their nightmares unfold live. Let their cheap suits sweat in their overpriced offices. Because while they're busy trying to reboot, you're busy rewriting the whole damn operating system with a grin, a snark, and a fire that refuses to quit. Now that's a show worth watching.